Pinehurst, the site of the 2014 U.S. Men's Open. This story began more than a century ago, the ending still yet to be written. In the heart of the North Carolina Sandhills, at Pinehurst number 2, today's best players will walk in the footsteps of greatness. This week, skills will be tested, risks taken, fears conquered, and greatness achieved. For those who live here, they'll tell you, golf is as much a part of Pinehurst as the pines themselves. While winding their way from hole to hole, we'll witness the arching swings, the roll of the ball, the perfect shot. At the end of it all, only one man walks away the 2014 U.S. Open champion.
You will not find a better setting to host our nation's National Golf Championship than right here at Pinehurst number 2. Welcome to the 2014 U.S. Men's Open Championship at Pinehurst. Certainly a course of champions. So glad to be with you. I'm Jeff Gravely.
And I'm Gerald Owens, Pinehurst number 2, hosting both the men's and the women's opens back to back. The first time the men's and women's opens have been played on the same course in the same 2 weeks. This is truly history being made. And check out the crowds here at Pinehurst. They're coming to see history made. 350,000 people expected to watch these two golf tournaments over the next, 10 days or so. Swarms of fans going up to their favorite golfers, hoping, to get an autograph or two. They have an opportunity, or had an opportunity until the end of today, to go do that.
And thousands of people have been heading into the merchandise tent to buy memorabilia to remember this famous, iconic place and this historic moment. And media from all around the world, our brethren from all around the world, have come to this small village in Moore County to document a diverse field on each hole of the championship. During the next 30 minutes, we're going to show you that this tournament is a little bit more and a lot more than just golf itself.
That's right, Jeff. The golfers hope to get a handle on this revamped course, and they wish they knew it half as well as Willie McRae did. He is a legend out here at Pinehurst. Jeff, you know him. He's caddied here for more than 70 years. We'll meet him a little later.
Also, Payne Stewart, the 1999 U.S. Open champion, received the USGA's highest honor. We'll take you there and show you that. And also, what you might need to know to join the party here at Pinehurst number 2.
But right now we want to tell you a little bit more about this golf course, Pinehurst number 2, one of the most famous golf courses in America.
And it's been redesigned. It's been well documented that Bill Corr and Ben Crenshaw did a fantastic job basically making the new Pinehurst the old Pinehurst back in the 1930s of Donald Walsh. You can see from Sky 5 just the emerald green of the fairways and the greens, and then the browns of the waste areas, which the golfers all week have talked about. Here are a few comments from a trio of professional golfers.
This place is awesome. It is just a wonderful site, and this is the first, I really believe that this week is testing a player's entire game.
I think it looks fantastic. Especially out there at the minute with the dry weather that we've had, it looks quite linksy. You've got these native areas off the side of the fairways. The fairways are getting, firm and fast. Greens are obviously very undulating.
A lot of tee shots have changed, but the character of the golf course and what makes it tough is still the same as the greens. And a lot of these holes, some holes you're not trying to hit the green.
I think, Gerald, if we had those trio of golfers on Sunday gunning for this championship, we would have a fantastic championship.
Absolutely. Nobody here would be disappointed. One of the things that everyone is watching here, in addition to the golf, is the weather. We had a brush with the storm system earlier today. We dodged a bullet. Let's go to meteorologist Mike Mays back in the Weather Center. Mike, what can we expect the rest of this week? We're hoping it'll stay just like it is today.
Well, unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to remain that way, Gerald. You had dry weather Monday and Tuesday. Highs yesterday, 97, 95 today. You had those showers and storms, and it was quite an active day all across the viewing area, and those are the showers and storms that rolled through Pinehurst. There's more activity across South Carolina that's making its way up to the north. What we had over the past few days was high pressure in the upper atmosphere that inhibited shower and thunderstorm development. What we have in the coming days is low pressure, which will allow for storms to form. Now, it's not going to be a washout during the day tomorrow. We started this at 7 a.m. on Futurecast. There's lunchtime tomorrow. We'll go partly to mostly cloudy. Should be cooler tomorrow with highs in the 80s and instead of the 90s, with showers and thunderstorms popping up. And this is going to be the same scenario as we go through the day Friday, Saturday, and also on Sunday. Not going to be a washout, as you can see on our 7-day forecast, but might have to call play for a little while. The storms move on, and then it's resuming play. High temperatures Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in the upper 80s. And then as we have the practice rounds for the Women's U.S. Open next week, temperatures start to warm back up. But I don't think the weather's going to be all that bad. Just watch out for those afternoon and evening storms. Gerald?
Well, you know what? That might be a good thing, Mike. Jeff, we've talked about this before. The rain will soften the golf course, and these guys will actually have a chance to keep that ball in the green.
And Phil Mickelson said the other day he hopes it rains because that's going to force guys to chip around the green as opposed to putting through the rough in the area around the fringe. So he's hoping it rains because he's a great chipper.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Mother Nature is going to fully cooperate to reward Phil with that right there.
As though these guys would love it out here. Yeah. And there's plenty of action here at Pinehurst number 2. If you can't make it down here, don't worry, WRAL has you covered. Our U.S. Open experience includes live coverage in our newscasts and a special wrap of the day's events in our expanded 11 p.m. newscast on WRAL. Make sure, of course, to check out WRAL.com. You'll find a tour of number 2, along with our guide on how to play each hole in this storied golf course, and you can just search hole by hole.
You know, Gerald, this is the third U.S. Men's Open Championship to be at Pinehurst number 2, and it's not an easy thing to get.
Right.
You know, the process to get a U.S. Open, it is certainly a process. And so how did Pinehurst number 2 lure the national championship to this very course?
In 1984, Pinehurst was near bankruptcy. But when Club Corps owner Robert Dedman bought it, the process of rehabilitating the property began.
By 1987, when I showed up, you know, that wasn't even, no one even thought about it. It was inconceivable that we would talk about getting a U.S. Open.
As president and CEO of Pinehurst, Pat Corso helped change that sentiment when he hired former PGA president Don Padgett.
He came in and we asked him to bring us back to major championship play. He said, well, what is it you think you'd like to have? And we said, well, you know, the event would be the U.S. Open. He said, yes, you're right.
Corso and Padgett began to build their case by hosting golf events. They landed 2 major breaks when the Tour Championship came to Pinehurst number 2 in 1991 and 92.
That 91 event is what got us the opportunity for the 94 Senior Open.
When the Senior Open came in 94, we started hearing, as you say, whispers about, and hopefully it would lead to an Open champion, you know, U.S. Open championship.
The USGA wanted the Open back in the South, but there were some concerns.
The U.S. Open had only been held in the South one time before, and that was in '76 in Atlanta, and the greens didn't hold up. The humidity and the heat and so forth, they just thought it can't be done.
So Pinehurst formed a partnership with the USGA and found a putting surface that would survive the southern heat.
They called me up and said, you need to come to Baltusrol in 1993. I did, and they announced us for the 99 Open. I mean, we were like the dog that caught the car.
Unlike today, Pinehurst was contracted to run the 99 Open, sell the tickets, put up the stands, find the vendors and volunteers, seek corporate backing. They succeeded in all areas, and the U.S. Open of 99 became a 4-day masterpiece.
Right after the 99 Open was done, that evening after Payne Stewart was crowned champion, a letter was handed to the USGA right then inviting them back for a future Open.
Pat Corso delivered that invitation, and the USGA responded quickly.
Coming back to Pinehurst in 2005 was the fastest return trip since Canterbury in 1945.
In 2005, after Michael Campbell was crowned champion, another letter of invitation was delivered to the USGA.
We'll just keep our fingers crossed and hope something comes about in 13, 14, 15, or sometime in the future.
Bid accepted and date set for 2014.
Well, here's what the USGA said to us. They said, in their belief, we were one of the 3 legs on the golf world stool: Pinehurst, Pebble Beach, and St. Andrews.
That is an amazing group of golf courses if you can be included in that trio. And I got to believe after Sunday's championship, there'll be another little letter slid to the USGA inviting them back. But the earliest it could come back is 2022. The U.S. Open is booked through 2021. Coming up, USGA presents Payne Stewart with its highest award. And we will also talk to the man who carried Payne Stewart's bag to the U.S. Open Championship, Mike Hicks.
And the U.S. Open at Pinehurst is already blowing up on social media. We have several of our WRAL people here in Pinehurst covering the tournament for you. We're all sharing our behind-the-scenes experiences on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Make sure to join the conversation. Just use hashtag US Open 2014. Wow, still gives you goosebumps. What golf fan can forget this iconic moment at Pinehurst number 2, the moment Payne Stewart won the US Open with that putt back in 1999.
And yesterday, his family accepted the Bob Jones Award on his behalf. This is the U.S. Golf Association's highest honor. It goes to the golfer who does so many things besides what the accomplishments are on the golf course. If you went to the ceremony yesterday, it was quite emotional. Payne's wife, Tracy, was there. Also his daughter, Chelsea. And also, one of the men who got to speak at the event is joining us right now, the man who was on the bag in 1999 from Hillsborough, North Carolina, Mike Hickson. What was that reunion like yesterday for you guys?
It was very special. I hadn't seen Tracy in a couple of years, and obviously seeing Paul Azinger and Peter Jacobson and Dr. Coop. It was a good time. We reminisced and told a lot of good stories.
How many times have you relived this moment of 1999? We're 15 years out now, Mike. It's hard to believe.
So many times. I mean, every year when this week comes up, you see that highlight, no matter where they're playing the U.S. Open. So, it's frequent, and it's been a lot here lately. So, but it's always a special moment, and still gives me goosebumps.
Still me too. I see you jumping Payne Stewart. You said you didn't want to Yogi Bear him like Yogi did after the perfect game of Don Larson, but I guess that is your leap of faith.
It is, but he was. I didn't realize how strong he was. I knew he'd been working out, but he kind of lifted me up, and I don't know. It was just a reaction, and I didn't want to Deborah Couples him.
That's
with
true.
Wrapping the legs around him. So
that's true. What are you looking for this week as this golf course has changed in the rough?
Well, this golf course, the two previous Opens, the tee shots weren't that intimidating looking. I mean, you get on the tee, and sure, you didn't want to hit it in the rough, but you really, if it went in the rough, it was fine, because the rough, you could still play out of it. Now you get on the tee, and it's very intimidating looking. So it's a totally different setup. I mean, it's still a second shot golf course, but it is very intimidating looking off the tee.
Who are maybe 3 guys that you would look for to succeed this week?
My picks are, and I just found out Sergio was injured, so I think he pulled out last week or a couple of weeks ago with a knee injury. Right. So I didn't know that, but he was one of my picks, and I like Phil.
Even though he's changed his putting stroke going into this week, putting grip.
Right. I think he's been looking for this week all year. I think he's been gearing for it. And your short game, your imagination around the greens is going to have to be really keen this week. And I like his chances.
And he was the guy that Payne grabbed right after winning that 99 Open and saying, you're going to win your championship and you're going to be a father. And the next day, Phil's daughter was born, his first child.
Right. That was a very special moment for, I think, both guys. I know Phil appreciated Payne's thoughtfulness, and I'm sure. Well, I know, because underneath the scoring tent that we're down below to sign the scoring scorecard. I said to Phil, I said, you're going to get yours one day, and but you never know. This might be Payne's last, and little did we know it was.
Exactly. Well, I know, being a caddy and being here at Pinehurst, you've heard of the caddy named Willie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody knows Willie, right?
Absolutely.
Gerald's got a story on Willie that is just fantastic. Right, Gerald?
Absolutely.
Take it away.
Well, we'll hear it coming up after the break. We've got Willie McRae. They call him Willie of Pinehurst. He has a truly remarkable story to tell. 71 years as a caddy, coming right up. Welcome back to Pinehurst number 2. You know, in the weeks leading up to this golf tournament, most, if not all, the players came out here to number 2 to get a feel for this course because it has changed so much over the last few years. Some of them picked up the phone and called it expert on number 2, a man who knows this golf course better than anyone in the world. Do you think anybody knows this golf course better than you?
No. I done forgot more than a lot of them guys there will learn.
Willie McRae has been a caddy at Pinehurst for 71 years, starting at the age of 10.
You were making $1.75 for 2 bags and 50-cent tip back in Porter Street. That was a lot of money.
At 81, he may be the oldest caddy in the world. His secret to longevity, what he calls the 3 ups.
You got to show up, what I know, keep up, and shut up.
The list of players he's caddied for is a who's who of golf.
Bobby Jones, I caddied for Bobby Jones. There's Hagen. Walter Hagen, I caddied for him. That's Gene Sears, the little man.
Little man.
Little man. Soon you give him the club, it's gone.
And you know you've had a storied career when it takes you a while to remember the presidents that you've caddied for.
Truman, Eisenhower,
Ford
and Nixon.
Nixon, and Eisenhower.
Yeah. Oh, I caddied for Roosevelt, too. I caddied for 5 presidents.
I'm gonna be honest with you, any of the presidents kind of moved the ball from behind the tree?
Oh, yeah. All of them did.
He was one of 12 children growing up in nearby Taylortown. With parents as sharecroppers, golf got him off the farm. It was a sport he loved but couldn't afford. In the beginning, he had to make his own clubs.
Took me a blackjack tree and cut it down, shaped it like a club, sanded it down and wrapped the handle up and started playing.
This local product was candid about the personalities he's encountered in this sport.
Everybody thought he was such a nice guy. I told him, I said, Sam Neill, one of the rottenest guys that ever lived.
On the other hand, Gary Player was one of the finest.
Called the kids under the rope, signed autograph and all that. Yeah, he was just so great.
He doesn't care much for the transformation of Pinehurst number 2 back to its roots. He says the course is easier now than it was for the last 2 U.S. Opens.
Probably 4 or 5 on the park gonna win it this year. All they got to do is stay out of that grass. I call it love grass.
Why's that?
Cause it hold and won't let go.
But in his opinion, it is still the greatest challenge in golf.
You got to know where to hit the ball at all times. Try to hit the ball in the middle of the green and 2-putt and get out of there.
Willie McRae is a bona fide celebrity with a new book and rumors of a movie about his life.
You caddied for me a couple of times a few years ago.
Yeah, I remember.
Oh, you don't remember.
I do.
But that's okay. I appreciate you saying it.
I remember the face.
He's as much a part of this resort's history as the golf course Donald Ross built. And yes, Willie McRae caddied for him too.
You lived a good life.
Oh yeah, real good. And I thank God for it.
That's truly amazing. Caddied for Donald Ross when he was 10 years old.
That's phenomenal. And I can tell you a quick story. Defending U.S. Open champion Justin Rose was here a couple of weeks ago. He and his putting coach, David Orr, went out on the course, and they wanted Willie to go with him.
Yeah.
So he went out, and Justin said the other day that Willie was able to tell them things that they could not have figured out themselves. So if Justin Rose wins, Willie might get a cut of the check.
He might get a check, yeah. He'll get a little something.
That's right. So we're going to tell you what you need to know if you come here to Pinehurst to watch.
And what does it take to feed a crowd of hungry spectators? Just ahead, we'll look at how much food has been brought in for this massive event. We're back after this. Welcome back to Pinehurst. You know, one of the jewels of Pinehurst is the clubhouse. The 2-story building has overlooked these fairways for more than a century. In 1996, Pinehurst was designated a National Historic Landmark, including the country club itself. The halls are lined with pictures that walk us through the history of this golf course since its beginning back in the late 1800s. You'll also pass by trophy cases featuring memorabilia from the 2 previous U.S. Open championships played here in 1999 and 2005. Golfers and spectators alike can sit in rocking chairs or eat lunch on the veranda while looking out at historic number 2. Unfortunately, the clubhouse isn't open to the public this week, but it is worth visiting if you make it back to Pinehurst at a later date.
And you can still find plenty of things to do around here. But there are quite a few rules, just like the game of golf.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so if you plan to come to the Pinehurst number 2 to watch the U.S. Open, here are some things you cannot do. Leave your cell phone at home, folks, or leave it in the car. You cannot bring a cell phone. You cannot bring a camera. You cannot bring in your own food. You cannot bring in your own drinks. Well, what can you do? You can watch a lot of great golf. That's what you can do. You're going to have to go through a little bit of security like you do at the airport. Parking lots are open at 5:30 a.m. daily. Admission gates open at 6. Parking is free for ticket holders. There's also a free shuttle service from the parking lots to the main gate. You'll also find all of this information on WRAL.com, including details on road closures at the end. Well, golf fans will have a wide range of souvenir options that they can do, like looking back at the U.S. Open championships. I've already seen Gilbert Bays in a Payne Stewart hat.
There you
He
go.
looked pretty good.
Yeah, he does.
He looked pretty good. Dropped some coin, but looked pretty
Right. Oh, yeah, a lot of coin. As Jeff mentioned earlier, you can't bring food or drink here to Pinehurst, but don't worry, there's plenty to eat. How about this? 100,000 hot dogs. Just think of that.
No,
Can
you can do that,
conceptualize
not
that?
me.
42,000 hamburgers, 48,000 bags of potato chips. There will also be 18,000 jumbo cookies, 125,000 souvenir cups for either beer or soda, along with thousands of other drinks, including 50,000 bottles of water. And with the heat that we saw today in the last couple of days, they're going to need every bottle of water. If you're worried about restrooms, there will be 600 individual units, along with 36 high-end restrooms, trailers on the property. Those are the nice ones with the maitre d'.
And I think it's the uniqueness of this whole U.S. Open experience is it's 2 weeks of it. There are definitely some souvenirs that you want to take advantage of this historic back-to-back U.S. Open championship. 500,000 items stamped with the U.S. Open logo, the merchandise tent, 39,000 square feet, over 106,000 hats to choose from. The merchandise tent opened to the public last week, but with the U.S. Open underway, you better have a ticket if you want to get on the quarters here and go into the merchandise tent. But I went in briefly, but I've got to go back in with your credit card.
Naturally. Real quickly, before we leave, who do you like in this championship?
I think everybody's pulling for Phil Mickelson. We heard Mike Hicks talk about it. Don't count out Rory McIlroy or Bubba Watson.
Yeah.
Those are 3 big names that you can look for. And like I said, if we could have that, Webb Simpson in the hunt on Sunday, this would be another dynamic U.S. Open here at Pinehurst.
And we hope that is, and we're looking forward to it. Thank you for joining us for the 2014 U.S. Open at Pinehurst. Course of Champions.